Hello, and welcome to my presentation on the pedagogy for online education. So, the first theory we're going to be looking at is Moore's transactional distance theory. This is a framework that explores the pedagogical relationship between teachers and learners, particularly in the context of online education. The theory states that the transactional distance is a psychological as well as a communications gap that can be influenced by three key components: dialogue, structure, and learner autonomy. So, dialogue refers to the interaction between teacher and learner. High levels of dialogue reduce the transactional distance because they allow for more immediate feedback and clarification. While dialogue can be synchronous, such as having live discussions, it can also be asynchronous. So, forums, emails, etc. Looking at the structure, it represents the rigidness or the flexibility of the course design. Highly structured courses have clear guidelines, objectives, and schedules, which can reduce uncertainty for learners. And I think that's more so been my experience with online courses at LSU. However, some might say that too much structure limits dialogue and adaptability to individual learner needs. Conversely, more flexible courses can accommodate diverse learning styles better, but they can also increase this transactional distance if it's not well managed. Last is looking at learner autonomy. So, this is the degree in which learners can set their own goals, choose their own learning strategies, and manage their own learning pace. Higher autonomy reduces the transactional distance for self motivated and disciplined learners. However, learners with low autonomy might feel isolated or overwhelmed, increasing that transactional distance. The relationship between these components can kind of look like fostering closer interactions and understanding between teachers and learners can help inform a well balanced structure, which reduces that transactional distance that we've been talking about, providing clear guidance while allowing for sufficient dialogue and learner autonomy. Greater learner autonomy can either decrease the transactional distance for self directed learners or increase it for those that are needing more support. This theory suggests that the optimal learning outcomes are met when these components are balanced to match the needs of our learners and also the context of the course. So, a couple of examples where you could see Morse theory in action would be a self paced, massive open online course. And that's when learners would progress through pre recorded lectures and online resources at their own pace. So, some of the pros and cons of this would be the limited dialogue could increase that transactional distance we were talking about earlier, especially if learners have questions or need support. There isn't that immediate availability and feedback. But the clear structure of it helps guide learners through content, somewhat mitigating the increased distance from the low dialogue. High learner autonomy here suits those individuals that are more increasingly self motivated, but also might increase the transactional distance for those who need more guidance and support. Another example could be a blended learning situation in a high school classroom. Um, For example, in biology, you could use a blended approach combining face to face instruction like a lab with online activities, which could be, an assessment on the material, etc. Now, there is a high amount of dialogue in a face to face setting, which reduces that transactional distance by enabling real time interactions with a teacher or professor. Typically, in these courses, you'll have a more structured syllabus and integrated activities that ensure coherence and reduce confusion, maintaining a low transactional distance. This one has more of a moderate autonomy, which allows students to tailor their learning experience while benefiting from structured support, ensuring the best balance in transactional distance. They have varying these both of these examples have varying levels of dialogue structure and learner autonomy. Balancing these different components will effectively help enhance the learning process by minimizing the psychological and communication gaps between teachers and learners. So, a few of the important implementations that you can take away, particularly from Moore's theory in distance and online education environments, are to enhancing the dialogue, incorporating various forms of interaction, whether that be a live video session, a discussion forum, or group projects to facilitate ongoing communication between instructors and learners. Also, within that dialogue piece, providing timely and constructive feedback. Also, encouraging active participation through these interactive activities and collaborative projects to maintain engagement and reduce that feeling of isolation. The second piece is how you're structuring the course. So, you need to have a well detailed syllabus, clear learning objectives, and schedule activities so that the students can navigate the course content efficiently. Keeping the layout consistent for online platforms to reduce confusion and ensure that they can find the resources and assignments easily. And scaffolding when necessary, breaking down the complex task into smaller, manageable steps with clear instructions and deadlines will help learners stay on track and reduce that transactional distance. And the third is promoting learner autonomy, supporting self direction, offering flexible choices, monitoring progress of your students to ensure that autonomy doesn't lead to feelings of abandonment or isolation. And then it comes to balancing these three things: balancing, enhancing dialogue, structuring the course, and promoting learner autonomy. Adjusting the levels of these things are based on learner demographics, course content, and delivery mode. You know, um, young learners, elementary, are going to need more structure and guided instruction versus adult learners like ourselves might benefit from a higher autonomy. So, looking at how Moore's transactional distance theory can be improved would be through more modern technology integration. Think of tools like virtual reality, augmented reality, and AI chatbots to improve communication and engagement. You can provide real time insights for support interactions. Second would be a social presence, so fostering connections among learners and instructors through strategies like cohort based learning and peer mentoring. Last would be learner diversity, uh, recognizing that learners have different styles and accommodating these. It can be based on their cultural background, learning styles, prior knowledge, ensuring that all learners can participate effectively, supporting a diverse and inclusive learning environment. The next theory we'll look at is the community of inquiry model, and this is the framework for understanding online and blended learning. It emphasizes creating a meaningful learning experience through cognitive, social, and teaching presence. So, first, cognitive presence is the learner's ability to construct and confirm meaning through reflection and discourse. And they would do these through activities such as critical thinking, problem solving. And first, you start out with presenting a problem or issue. Next, you investigate and share ideas. Following that, synthesizing the ideas and then applying the new knowledge. Next is social presence, which is the learner's ability to present themselves as real people in the community. And this is done through communication, collaboration, and building a supportive community. The pieces of this include sharing emotions and experiences, having that open communication with respectful and trusting interactions, and then developing a sense of belonging. And the last is teaching presence, which is designing, facilitating, and directing cognitive and social processes to achieving learning outcome. And this can be done through course design, facilitating discourse, and direct instruction. So, first, you're looking at planning and structuring activities, guiding discussions and interactions, and then providing um, expertise, feedback, and clarification. Now, looking at kind of how all of these are connected, social and cognitive presence really do good at supporting discourse. Social and teaching presence together work on setting the climate of the environment. And then finally, cognitive and teaching presence work on selecting the content in which you are focusing on. And together, they all make up the educational experience. So, with the community of inquiry model, we start with a provocative question. And in this example, this is something I actually talked about with my students because we just learned about renewable and non renewable energy sources. And so I actually did this with my students. They researched each group researched a different type of renewable energy, and each group also, the following week, researched a type of non renewable energy. They looked at the uses, the effects on the environment, and definitions, and some examples of it. And they put it into the form of a slideshow. But to better fit the community of inquiry model, you would also have them share the insights in maybe a discussion forum type deal. But for my format, it was time sensitive, so we did not do that portion. Learners from that point would take the information and they would synthesize their findings into a comprehensive comparison looking at impact, cost, and efficiency, which we looked more at the environmental impact piece than we did cost and efficiency. Though some students were familiar with things like solar panels are expensive, but in the long run are more financially beneficial. In the end, students would propose their solutions for increasing the use of renewable energy sources in their communities, creating a final project. So, here are some key points on significant implications for teaching and learning. So, first, enhancing cognitive presence involves promoting critical thinking by designing activities that require analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. The inquiry also needs to be structured, and this is crucial to guiding students through the phases of the triggering event, exploration, integration, and resolution, and continuous feedback throughout that process. Next is fostering social presence. And this entails building a community by creating opportunities for introductions and sharing experiences together. Using both synchronous and asynchronous tools, students are allowed to express their thoughts and respond to others. Last is strengthening teaching presence, and this requires effective course design, planning, and organizing courses with clear objectives and diverse instructional materials. Active facilitation is key and necessary to provide guidance and facilitating interactions. So, some potential changes that could be made in the community of inquiry model would be the inclusion of emotional presence and the integration of technological presence. So, with emotional presence, I would imagine it being something like where learners get to express and share and manage the emotions within the learning environment. Think of like a social emotional learning curriculum in a classroom, strategies where students get to enhance their emotional engagement, share personal stories, and create emotionally engaging content through things like storytelling, role playing, etc. Looking at integration of technological presence, um, we know how important and essential digital literacy is for both instructors and students. So, emphasizing the importance of this includes providing training on learning management systems and other educational technologies. The type of technology that can provide real time feedback and adjust content based on individual learner needs. Together, these theories really underscore the importance of designing well structured, interactive, and inclusive learning environments. By incorporating elements from both frameworks, educators can create rich, engaging, and effective educational experiences that meet the diverse needs of modern learners. Thank you so much for listening, and follow me at that EdTech Lady on Twitter.